Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as I was on a Friday, we're having a month ahead look ahead, and this is going to take us well into July. So we've got hot weather on the way for next week, heat wave coming up, more on that in today's second video update, but I'll be with you later on this afternoon, and we'll see for JMA Friday how long this spell of hotter weather is likely to last for as far as the longer range JMA and CFS V2 models are concerned. So I'll get on with JMA Friday for you very shortly. Just as I said, coming up later on this afternoon, we will have your week to 10-day video update that will discuss all of next week's heatwave potential. Right, so let's get on with it. Let's start off by having a look at the 500 millibar hydronomic flow charts from the JMA. These are broken down into weekly periods, so the first weekly period will take us from the 21st through to the 28th of June. Yellow, orange and red extrapolates to above average heights, which is high pressure, blue to below average heights, which is low pressure. So in the coming week, we've got this area of above average heights up to our north and also to our northeast, with below average heights out to the west and the southwest. So the upshot of that is that we're bringing up a warm, hot, sort of southerly southeasterly wind, but with this trough down to the southwest, that provides instability, and so temperatures, yes, they will be rising, going to become hotter in the next week, but it may also become a little bit thundery too. Now, as we go through to week 2, this one taking us from the 28th of June through to the 5th of July, we find a change. The Atlantic breaks through and we turn more unsettled. So we have this area of low pressure, below average heights in the Atlantic, but also extending through the UK and into much of Northern Europe as well. Above average heights pulling out in towards Greenland and also collapsing down into Mediterranean means that the jet stream is coming southwards. So obviously that's a more unsettled, and it's a cooler week as well as we go into the beginning of July. And then weeks 3 and 4 with the JMA are also looking quite unsettled as well. So it looks as though this hot weather that we've got coming up in the next week, it looks like it's pretty limited and quite short-lived. As far as the JMA is concerned, we'll have a look and see what CFS has to say about that in a moment. But as far as the JMA is concerned, no sign that as we go through July, but we go back to those hotter conditions. So this is a 2-week anomaly taking us from the 5th to the 19th of July, and it looks relatively cool, relatively unsettled. Again, the below average heights are coming through the UK from the Atlantic and into Northern Europe, and we've got this blocking signal up to the north. That's sending the jet stream southwards, and so again it looks relatively cool and relatively unsettled as we're going through July from the 5th through to the 19th. Let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view and see how that's shaping up. So again, we come back to week 1, reminder of the 500 millibar height anomaly for week 1. We're in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it with this, by the way. So we can't see the North Pole, that's off the chart, up there somewhere. But we know that in this week we've got this ridge over here across central and southern parts of Europe with below average heights down to our southwest. Ridge also extends to our north, and so we're pulling up these hot southerly southeasterly winds. Temperature anomalies don't look overly exciting actually, so we've got very hot temperatures across sort of central parts of Europe. For us, we're kind of like on the periphery of it with a JMA. I think we will bring more higher temperatures, above average temperatures in than that sort of indicates. It looks rather unsettled as well, probably down to thunderstorms. So surprisingly, the JMA is going for a rather wetter and somewhat cooler week than you would probably expect. I think that will be quite a bit drier than that. I don't think the thunderstorms will be quite as widespread as that shows, and I think temperatures will be hotter as well than that is indicating for the next week. We go through to week 2, which is the 28th of June through to the 5th of July. The below average heights are moving in across the UK from the Atlantic then and going to our east. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. So average to rather cool really, with temperature anomalies there from the 28th of June to the 5th of July. That's fine, it makes sense with an Atlantic flow becoming established. Generally a little bit on the above average side for precipitation, particularly so for England and Wales. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which is the 5th through to the 19th of July, with the below average heights again from the Atlantic in towards the UK. Looks so it's probably rather changeable. Temperature anomalies are still average to a bit cooler than average. So there's not much sign of hot weather with the JMA, but I think it's underestimating temperature anomalies definitely for week 1. And it looks rather unsettled again from the 5th to the 19th of July. Overall a little bit above average with precipitation. So July shaping up to be a rather cool and changeable month actually with the JMA. Let's have a look and see what CFS V2 has to say. So again, these are 500 millibar heights, and they're broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period takes us from 21st, 27th of June, below average heights down to our southwest, above average heights both to our north and to our east. So we're sucking up those hot southerly type winds, but the trough down to southwest could provide the instability for thunder. Big changes for week 2. This is the 28th of June to the 4th of July. Above average heights going into the northern Atlantic and up towards southern Greenland. Below average heights to our south, but also to our east as well. Looks like we're going back onto the cool side of the jet stream. So cooler and more unsettled there for the final days of June and the beginning of July. Week 3 looks like that. It's not very good at all. This is the 5th to the 11th of July, blocking around Greenland and Iceland with below average heights through central southern parts of Europe. Obviously that's filtering in a northeasterly wind, so that's unsettled, but it's also potentially cool, maybe very wet, similar perhaps to what we've had through the earlier part of June with those cold northeasterlies coming back. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 12th to the 18th of July. And we have blocking again around Greenland and Iceland. Looks like it's beginning to reach southwards into the UK, so probably becoming drier, but certainly not a heat wave. Winds would still be coming round that high pressure, kind of like from the northeast. So temperatures will probably be pretty cool, but it would be turning drier. This is how the temperature anomalies are looking. So week 1 takes us from the 21st, 27th of June, hotter than average for England and Wales. Not particularly exciting for Scotland, and much hotter than average across most parts of Europe too. And then week 2 goes cooler. So this is the 28th of June to the 4th of July. We're going below average with the temperature anomaly then. Overall, much cooler week as we move into the start of July. Those cooler temperatures continue into week 3. That's the 5th to the 11th of July. Overall average to a bit below average, particularly for England and Wales. Most of Europe looking colder than average as well. Getting a bit warmer for week 4. This is the 12th to the 18th of July as that ridge is building down from the north. It's going for above average temperature anomalies. So you get a lot of sunshine with that, but I think overall it would still probably be quite cool because that high pressure is centred to our north, and we're certainly not bringing in anything particularly from the south. So I would have thought that's still relatively cool, particularly so at night really. Temperature, precipitation anomalies finally. So this is week 1, 21st, 27th of June, wetter than average. So both of these models are indicating quite a wet week coming up in the week ahead. And that's got to be primarily down to thunderstorms. Thunderstorms being triggered by heat and humidity. So maybe these storms are going to be a bit more widespread than I'm anticipating next week. Week 2 is the 28th of June to the 4th of July. A bit drier than average for the north of Scotland. Elsewhere, generally still on the wetter than average side. Week 3 is the 5th to the 11th of June. Signal is weakening. Bit drier than average up to the north. Elsewhere, near normal. And then week 4, again, we've lost the signal really. This is the 12th to the 18th of July. It's just coming out average. I expect that will be relatively dry in week 4 as that ridge builds down from the north. So the coming week isn't looking quite as hot or as dry as I would have anticipated. I still think it's going to be quite a bit hotter than these models are showing. As far as thunderstorms are concerned, we're just going to have to wait and see. That will be a case of taking it day by day next week and just seeing how widespread those storms are. Potentially, it could be a very wet week next week if there is a lot of storms breaking out. We would sort of like going to the kind of climate they have in something like Florida, perhaps with tropical temperatures, but also big thunderstorms. However, I'll be surprised if storms are as widespread as that. So we shall see how that pans out anyway. But next week is hotter and there's potential for thunder, but it doesn't look as though these hot conditions are going to be maintained all that long. Both the JMA and the CFS are in agreement that by the time we get through to the beginning of July, we're back into a cooler and more unsettled pattern. And then after that, there's no real sign of anything particularly summer-like coming up, certainly into the middle of July and possibly even progressing into the second half of the month. Now remember, it's just a snapshot. This is just an indication of what these models are showing today. They could look very different next week. They're prone to chopping and changing, and any forecast beyond 5 days comes with a big health warning. But that's what it's showing today. Relatively cool and unsettled signals, really, for the first half of July, after obviously a hotter period next week. And talking of that, we'll be back later on with today's second video update, which will be focusing on the chance of hot weather and maybe thunder next week. So come back for that then. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.